Hey, it's Jer. We can only do Daily Detroit with your support, so join us as a member, patreon.com/dailydetroit, or buy us a coffee, buymeacoffee.com/dailydetroit. Much appreciated. Hello, everyone, and welcome to your Daily Detroit for Tuesday, August 22nd, 2023. I'm Jer Stay, sharing what to know and where to go in Metro Detroit. Today is about where to go. 4 dates coming up with none other than comedian Paul Elia, who is our guest on the show, somebody that I have been wanting to talk to. He's recording his special here at the Detroit House of Comedy. So, you know what? Let's just get into that conversation. Paul Elia, so good to talk to you, and welcome to Daily Detroit.
Yo, what is up, players? Thanks for having me.
Oh, so good to see you. And I will, full disclosure, it's Fletcher Sharp who brought you to the table.
Yeah, man. Fletcher and I went to high school together. We ran track together. You know, we've always stayed in touch. I think that's the best way to stay in touch is just like liking your friends from high school's like photos. And like, that's the best check-in these days.
That's really it. It's more of just, like we went to U of D, shouts out to the Cubs. But also it's like a lot of people you went to high school with. It's like, I don't want to know these people for much longer. So you just occasionally like their, Facebook posts, Instagram posts, what have you. And then eventually you just like a bit less and you just stop liking them entirely. And then the ones, you get to your 30s, 40s, you're still liking their posts. You're like, I guess they're okay. They haven't said anything or done anything that makes me think, ooh, you deserve 2 likes a week, not 4. So, growth.
Okay. Do either of you ever get the dreaded friend request from that person who is just like awful and you're just afraid that you're going to hit okay and then they're just going to give you this huge apology speech or something?
My friend request list on Facebook is, I probably shouldn't say this because it's giving myself away. It's at least like 800 people. I just look at it and just say, no, I'm not doing that. It's okay. We knew each other at one point of my life and one point of your life, and that's fine. But we've both evolved into different people. And I think that my evolution doesn't need your evolution in its life. So I'm okay.
Yeah, I had a previous classmate add me on Venmo. I don't know what he wanted, but I confirmed it. And then like he just started DMing me on there.
On Venmo. Now, is this back when you could see all the transactions?
Yeah. It's so hilarious. Like people just reveal the crimes. I'll see so many people with like just a shroom emoji. And we're just going to act like this is okay.
It's really into pasta sauce, man. Pasta sauce.
I've been telling friends where I'm like, you got to be creative. You got to use more than just one emoji. Because if you use just one, like people know what you're doing. So like, you see someone who's like peach emoji, water emoji, smiley face. And like, we know what you're doing. Come on. Don't.
Yeah.
Or the tree in the wind.
We know what that is. Like, come on, be smarter. It's like, we're paying for, how about dog emoji, cupcake, star? It's like, all right, I don't know what this is. At least it's something you're paying for. It's good for you. Congrats.
Yeah.
But maybe keep it to friends and not, to the whole public, because I don't want to know what you're paying your friends for. To me, honestly, Venmo, I like it because it's like a social networking site, but it's also weird to me. It lets me know my friends that are in relationships, and I hope I don't get yelled at for this. It's like, such and such requested payment for rent, and it's like, don't tell us this. This is something you guys should be keeping in-house. I don't need to know how this is going on right now. It's like, oh, such and such requesting for 1 slice of pizza last week. Like, that's petty. Don't tell us this. That's feels like something's wrong. Like, don't keep that to yourself. That's one of the private between you two. But like, the whole world does not need to know. Like, hey, you owe me for a slice of pizza last week. Come on, that's weird.
Someone says like half for divorce attorney, and I'm like, why are you paying them on Venmo anyway?
I mean, they want you to know. It's like, hey, open season.
Hell yeah.
Big old green flags, right? Just come on in. So, Paul, you grew up in this area. You're currently in LA. What are kind of the things that you're taking with you when you go out west, versus here? What are some of the challenges? Because I've listened to like some of your podcast episodes and your work and all that over the years. And for you, like, what's the biggest like shift for you?
Man, the biggest thing I brought to the West Coast was the Detroit hustles harder mentality. Not a lot of people have that, man. So when I was in LA, I would be like, doing stand up until like 2 a.m. And then I would just see like a few people there. And I'm like, why is there only like 7 comics here, like at this open mic? Like I've always thought there would be like more. Like these are people who want to accomplish their dreams. And like 3 of the 7 people there are from Detroit. It would be me, and I would see like Ron Taylor. I would see Darius Bennett. I would see Trey Stewart. I would see like other Detroit comics that also moved out west, and we're all just like grinding together, man. So definitely, I was on some hustle energy like right when I came to LA.
Darius Bennett's funny. I like Darius Bennett. That's good to hear.
Thing is, though, that you go out west and like here, I feel like Detroit Hustles Harder should be multiple lines. It needs to be like Detroit Hustles / night jobs / second job / takes care of my mom harder, right? Because we've all got like 6 jobs here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I got so much respect for cats in Detroit, bro. That's why I wish there were more opportunities here for like creatives in Detroit. Like, I think at one point, like when the film incentive was here, which is when I really started to get into acting and entertainment and comedy, was during that era. And like sort of when that dropped off, it just became real sparse, man. That's why like in LA or in New York, just a place with more action, the Detroit hustles mentality was just so valuable, man. So, hopefully I pray that Detroit gets more opportunities and there's more clubs here. Like I see no reason why not, man. Like that's really what I want. That's my dream, really.
That era in cinema was funny to me just because it's like this new big movie's happening. It's like Batman versus Superman, and the scene's set in Detroit. Like, oh, okay. Like the Harold and Kumar, the Christmas movie, they were trying to make it set in New York. And I remember they were filming down the street from my father's law building was at the time. And I was like, oh, are they filming? It's like Harold and Kumar. I'm like, they're in Detroit? That's crazy. Then I watched the film. It's like, this is supposed to be New York. I'm like, no, that's the Guardian building.
Yeah. And they're like, by the way, Kumar's Chaldean now. And I'm like, what?
Come on. You can like make maybe a sunset, but don't like put an iconic Detroit building and be like, oh no, this is New York for sure. Because we can all Google.
Although you go on the other side, you see, what is it, that Justified series? They've done a couple of things in Detroit, but most of that's in Chicago.
I mean, yeah, but like some of their bigger scenes, which I didn't even know they were filming any scenes in Detroit, have been like very obviously in Detroit. I mean, they filmed some scenes out in the suburbs, which I honestly was surprised about. They went to, which I learned, Armada, Michigan, and filmed some scenes, which I thought was Armada. And they're like, no, we say it with a May. And I'm like, that's because you're a bumpkin. It's a Spanish word. Say it the way the Spaniards say it. And then I got yelled at, so I stopped talking.
See, I call it Farmada and then K-Pack, which is cows and pigs and chickens.
I mean, all those names fit better than Armada, because like that's not how you say the name. Don't do that.
I remember when they were shooting these movies, Transformers, all that. I lived right by the train station back then, and my dog and I woke up to like bangs and bashes, and I'm like, oh, did somebody like backfire on the street? It's like, oh no, it's like flashes and movie sets. Like, oh, this is actually kind of nice. For you, Paul, you're coming back doing some of these things in Detroit. I mean, you talk about having these goals, but you're making something happen here.
Yeah, man. I'm shooting my comedy special in Detroit in October. I'm doing it the 13th and 14th. Like the opportunity came up to where it's like I can shoot it. And the first place I thought of, I wouldn't want to shoot my special anywhere else, man. So it's like coming here, I'm trying to hire as much Detroit crew as possible. The DP, her name's Lisa Wiegand. I met her on the set of Detroit 187. It was like my first professional acting job. She's from Detroit. Most of the camera operators are from Detroit. Our sound engineer is from Detroit. I'm getting Detroit music in here. It's crazy. Like I was in San Francisco and I met this artist who's phenomenal, man. And like I was talking to him and I was like, man, I'm trying to get some music made for my special. I'm from Southfield. He goes, bro, I'm from Southfield. And I'm like, what are the chances both of us are from like such similar streets? And then we just try to out Southfield one another. I'm like, man, I'm from 10 and Evergreen. He goes, bro, 8 an Inkster player. You know what I'm saying?
You're down to like corners of streets where it's like, yeah, no, I'm from this blade of grass. It's like, well, yeah, well, I live by this pebble. It's like, okay, we get it. We get it. We both know exactly where we are. Like, it's always good to go somewhere and do some work and then see people who you recognize. I've done work down in the South shooting a documentary for a HBCU soccer thing. And it's Alabama, so like I understand some of what people are saying, some of it I don't. And there are a few people who are just talking about stuff, and I'm like, they sound familiar. It's like, yeah, no, I'm from Novi, and I'm like, you know what? This is one of the few times I'm glad to see someone from Novi because like I don't know what's happening down here. And they're like, yeah, it's such and such and such. We're here for a convention, and I'm like, this is a weird place, but hey, at least I got an hour talking to people who understand, why it's so humid down here. And then it's like a little wind beneath your wing. So to see like so many people and kind of have like a little group, it makes you feel somewhat like home even when you're away.
Now, I know that you really like to bring up other artists in the middle of conversation, people, but I know that you are friends with Matt Rife, who, I'm sure you two bust each other's chops on a lot of things. But one thing I noticed is that you're from near Detroit and he's from near Columbus. Has that ever been like a conversation line? Because that's a long time
Oh
rivalry.
yeah. And then let me say this, man. I love talking about homies that are doing dope stuff in the game, man. Like Matt, I met him when he was 16, man. And like we immediately bonded. And I was just like, where are you from? He goes, I'm from Ohio. And I'm just like, bro, like Midwest people just connect. It's like how like people from Boston connect and then they just end up like fighting each other. We connect on some love, like work ethic type shit. Like he was, way out in the sticks, grew up, like had a, rough upbringing and really worked for everything he had. And, so did I. So we just bonded over that immediately, man. So like we always reminisce about that when we like talk.
Yeah, for sure. I heard somewhere that your mom has a shirt.
my, my mom's friend bought a Matt Rife t-shirt and she came to my mom's house and was hanging out and she goes, hey, I found this shirt. I think you would like it, and gave my mom a Matt Rife t-shirt. And my mom showed it to me. She goes, yeah, isn't this your friend? And I'm like, yeah, mom, that's Matt. And she goes, okay, cool. Well, I use it as a dish towel. My mom's been using it to clean the counter.
See, I was worried that, she'd be wearing it and all of a sudden he pops up in your bush, like right in your front yard. Like, you cannot come over this house anymore.
Honestly, I won't be surprised. Matt performs at so many venues. I won't be surprised if he's like, I'm performing at Paul's mom's house. That's on the tour, sold out.
See, you should troll him and just get that shirt made and just fill the entire audience with his shirt with your name at his show. So, Paul, you're bringing some of this work to Detroit. I'm excited about it. It is in the middle of October. You're coming to the House of Comedy, which I actually had the owner and organizers on the show because I was excited to see exactly what we were just talking about earlier in the show. These kind of venues, these kind of places where people can do work, sell tickets and make things happen. And, I'm glad that you're bringing all this here, but the live taping, all of that, there's 4 performances. That's a grind, man.
Yeah, man, we're selling out 4 shows. One of the shows is almost sold out. It's crazy. Like when I announced that I'm going to be performing in Detroit, there's a photo that I use on my Instagram. It's a photo of a bed that I made outside. And that bed I made, I was waiting in line to perform at this NBC stand-up competition. And essentially it's like first come, first served. So I drove a couple hours and I was waiting in line for 18 hours. And I brought some stuff to sleep in. And I slept on the floor that night so I could perform. And I remember when I took that photo, that was the first time in my career where I was like, I'm going to remember this moment. And I'm going to go back to this moment. And this is going to be the first day of me really starting where I know I'm going to be. And when I posted for the announcement of the special, I used that photo in the carousel and I explained to people like where this photo came from. And man, overwhelming love, bro. So many people were hitting me up like, bro, how can we support you? I'm getting tickets immediately. And we almost sold out the first show just within that one Instagram post.
That is awesome to hear because Detroiters near and far, we all need to support each other with this stuff, right? Because it's great to have that success in other cities. And I've seen so many people take that Detroit hustles harder mentality out there. But at the end of the day, it's even better when you can bring it back here and like, okay, there are some things that we can be inspired by and make some things happen here,
Man, 100%, bro. And very few, like I've never really had a lot of people give me favors. I really had to work for everything I've had, man. And I will tell you this, when I did bring comedy to Detroit, like early in my career, when I would announce I'm doing a show, I would get like between 30 and 50 people that I met in Detroit, far and wide, that would just come to the show. Even sometimes it's people that I've met once and they would come to the show and they'll be like, dude, I just want to support you, man. Like you're from Detroit, whether they're someone who's like Chaldean Assyrian, whether there's someone that's Iraqi, whether it's someone I went to high school with, whether it's someone that I played football with or ran track with, like people just show up to the show and show love, man. So like, I just want to give the people of Detroit the same love that they showed me.
And I want to say too, that it's impressive to see you be such a bridge. You were talking about, your Iraqi background, Chaldean, Assyrian. There's just not that many of those in Hollywood, man. That's got to be a bit of a shift for you.
Yeah, man. There's so few of us, bro. We're basically like white running backs. like, but when you see one, you're like, man, hell yeah,
So what you're trying to tell me is that you're like the Christian McCaffrey of comedy.
Basically, yeah.
All right.
I got to ask these questions. These are the deep questions, Paul. When you come back, what is the food or the restaurant you miss the most? Like when you come back, when you're like, I got to go here. I can't get this anywhere else I'm going.
Man, I believe Dearborn, Michigan has some of the best food ever that I've had. Like, I'll go to Dearborn, I'll go to Alamir restaurant, and it is just next level, man. Also, there's some restaurants that in West Bloomfield and Oak Park, man, Sahara I grew up eating Sahara. Sahara restaurant is just still to this day some of my favorite food, man. So I'm a huge Middle Eastern connoisseur, and I just love those restaurants, man. I mean, I got to be honest, bro. Like, I wish Detroit. Well, I mean, like people are like, "Oh, you go to Detroit, I'm gonna eat a coney dog," and I'm like, "You're gonna die."
You have to evolve with those genes, right? Like we grew up right in there. You know how like people are not necessarily able to take lactose or whatever. We're not supposed to be drinking milk as we get older. You kind of evolve into that. Same thing with the coneys. You evolve everything you need for that.
I enjoy coneys, but you know, if you asked me when I was 19, 20, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have 4 of these. Now it's like I'll have one. I'll eat half of it now, and I'll revisit it maybe in an hour or so. Like just because I'm not trying to die by 45. Like I gotta eat this bit by bit because I'm getting old. My body's starting to break down in ways I didn't know. So like eating a coney all at once, like I'm stuck in the bathroom for an hour. So.
But good falafel forever. Falafel forever.
Dude, how come they don't have a coney falafel dog? They need to just get a falafel dog. I remember one time I walked into Coney years ago and I asked them if they had like a Beyond dog or an Impossible Meat dog.
They laughed you out of there, didn't they?
No, well, it was interesting. The person just asked me to leave.
Yeah.
They didn't even address you. They're just like, go.
Yeah. And I'm just like, all right, fine. I was like, let me find a Shake Shack. By the way, also, bro, I say pop. I'm never going to say soda. And even if someone waterboards me and asks me and holds up a Pepsi and says, what is this? I'm going to say, that's pop.
I mean, that's how we'll know you're definitely from here. Otherwise, if you say soda, it's like, that's not him. He's been kidnapped. That's a different person. Nope, that's not Paul. I know it.
That's like your hostage notification.
Bro, I'm telling you, man, like I'm in LA and I say pop and then they're just confused and I'm just like, yeah, pop. And then I say, we call it pop in Detroit. And then they're just like, okay. So, and then they'll ring me up as soda and I'm like, I refuse to pay unless you change the name on your computer system. So unless I'm going to steal this. I'm letting you know right now.
It's like either you can take my money and call it what it's supposed to be called, or I'm just going to walk out, whatever. And
with it.
Might walk out with it, might walk out without it, might walk out with the second one. Who knows? Like, who wants to play
like, you know what? I might rob you, actually. Give me your money.
Yeah.
That falafel coney dog makes me think of that jingle, real man of genius. Like the commercial.
Oh, yeah. Real man of genius.
There you go. You got it. See, you're an actual performer. I just podcast in a padded room in the middle of the...
Dude, that was great. He goes, we support you, Mr. Envelope Liquor Person. Mr. Envelope Liquor Person.
Mr. Falafel Coney Dog Maker.
You got to open up your own coney back here and be like, we specialize in the falafel coney, and like you'll get a line or two.
Listen, bro, here's the deal, players. I will make this falafel dog, and I'll call it falafel dog, but DOWG.
I'm for it. Just don't put in a Z on the end. Whatever you do, it's not falafel dogs with a Z. That is, whenever I see a sign with a Z, I'm like, I don't know if I should trust what's happening here.
I'll open up a fake Twitter account and like neg it the entire time. Don't do that. This horrible review after horrible. It's like, I found a rat tail. It's like they're not even open yet. Like I still found one in the venue, so. Close it down.
That's hilarious.
I've told this a few times. I told this to Jair, and like I want you to experience this with me. So I knew that Paul was doing good things out in Los Angeles. I hadn't necessarily seen all of it, but there was one moment where like it really hit me like, oh, I know this guy. So sitting down, was watching season 2 of Rami, and I was watching it with Nicole. I love the show. Great show. Great cast. And they call out for Kaleem. And I see this guy in this white suit come out, pull back the curtain around his face, and I'm like, Leonardo DiCaprio meme where he snaps. He's like, I'm like, I know that guy. I know him. We ran track together. I know him. And Nicole's like, uh-huh. And I'm like, no. I know him. Look, see? Facebook. Boom. Know him. I got a yearbook. I'll show you. And she's like, okay. I'm like, no, I'm not lying. Like, don't. I started hyperventilating. I'm like, I know this guy. I'm going to tell him one day this happened. And he's going to look and be like, yeah.
Bro, that's hilarious. I remember that day because Fletcher's like, no, I know him. He's in the living room. And then I was like, hey, what's up? She's like, I still don't believe you.
Yeah. I was like, I know this guy. Look, I'll call him. Can you call him? I'm like, no, didn't think you'd take me up on that threat. But like, one day soon, I will call him and be like, look, see, I told you all those years ago, I'm not a liar. And then she would just be like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then, I'll just cry to myself with my one victory out of a month.
We are recording a podcast that she could theoretically download.
I mean, yeah, she does download them. It's just she's going to be like, I don't know what you're talking about, and then delete it subtly and be like, I don't even know what that was.
See, for me, it was TikTok. It's like, oh, that guy's from around here. Oh, wow. Somehow he got big on TikTok, too. I guess that's the thing comedians do now.
Yeah, man. And, bro, I just want to let you guys know this, and it is not common for a lot of people. Because I remember Fletcher messaged me. He was like, yo, bro, I saw you in Rami. That's so dope. And it's just like, not a lot of people like hearing people show love like this, man, means so much. It's like, even to like the littlest or smallest degree, like even when I started doing Conan, like I had friends of mine that would message me and they would like screenshot it and they'd post on their story and they'd be like, yo, Paul's on TV, man. And I had so many people like rally for me and really have my back, bro. So, man, means a lot, especially coming from cats from Detroit, man. Like you are both two people I respect deeply, bro. So, thank you for showing love, man. And, and that's what I think, bro. We're all a unit, so it's like Detroit people got to just stick together and be about our Detroit shit. You know what I'm saying?
100%, 100%. Okay. People want to support you, buy tickets. What do they need to do?
So easy. Go on my Instagram. I have a link in my bio. If you go to watchpaulelia.com, you can do it that way too. And you can scroll down, get tickets for the taping in Detroit. The first Friday show is almost sold out, but we have 3 other shows, October 13th and 14th. And if you can't make it, honestly, just sharing the link with anyone is also very helpful. So look forward to seeing whoever's listening, seeing y'all there. And if you're not there, you're dead to me. So
Fletcher, guess what? To keep the friendship, you got to show up.
I mean, I'm already going. I was going to try to surprise him, but I guess so I don't have to be, dead to him now. Like I'll just let him know I will be there. So
Paul Elia, thank you so much for your time on Daily Detroit. I really appreciate you and all the things you've been doing out there. Thank you.
Thanks, fellas. Love y'all, man. I'll see y'all soon.
For sure. Definitely.
Well, I hope you had as much fun listening to that episode as we did making it. Feedback, as always, 313-789-3211 or dailydetroit@gmail.com. We've gotten some great stuff lately, including some guest suggestions, so keep them coming. Much, much appreciated. With that, I am Jairus Days. I'll also say goodbye for Fletcher Sharp, who had to step out. He'll be joining us tomorrow with Norris Howard to talk about all the things in Metro Detroit. Remember that you are somebody, and we'll see you around Detroit.